We are 6 weeks out from UNC basketball tipping off, and I've got 6 burning questions that need to be answered.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, it's Monday, September 23rd, 2024. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Shade, and you're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, even on a very sad day like this one, coming out of what happened on Saturday. But seriously, thanks for making us your first listen or watch. What's up to all the everydayers joining us, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, and our Locked On Tar Heels insiders. It's a good day to be together. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Coming up on the show today, I want to make you aware of a couple things first. Number one, the ACC schedule is finally coming out tomorrow night, Tuesday night. So here's what we're doing. Coach Pat Kilby and I are going to record Wednesday's show live on YouTube all together on Tuesday evening after the reveal on ACC Network. So we'd love for you to come join us live on Tuesday night to get an early jump on Wednesday's show. If you're here for football coverage, we did that in our live postcast Saturday after the game. I will talk a little bit about the football game in the third segment, but most of this is going to be basketball today. Why is that? Because literally today, 6 weeks to the day before the tip-off of the regular season. Obviously, there's the blue-white scrimmage, there's the charity exhibition with Memphis, and the Johnson C. Smith game, but the regular season tips off 6 weeks from today. So what I've done is created 6 key questions, 6 burning questions that it's like, man, if I was going to heaven, these are like the questions I would be asking Jesus about this season. The mysteries of the faith, no, the mysteries of UNC basketball ahead of this season. So we're going to try to answer, I'm going to give you those and just start giving my thoughts on some of them. I'd love to hear your answers to these questions and what questions you would be asking ahead of this season different from mine. I'll also have our shady stat of the game from the football game, and we've got our weekend whip around. It was a bad weekend for the football team, but everybody else, man, they were in good shape. So here we go. 6 burning questions for the 24-25 season as we are at 6 weeks out. Number 1, can Elliot Cadeau average 15 to 20 combined points and assists per game? That might have sounded a little confusing. Let me unpack it for you. Basically, what I'm looking at is, can the combination of Elliot Cadeau's assists per game and points per game add up to somewhere from 15 to 20? Let's put it in concrete terms from what he did last year. Last year, Elliot had 7.3 points a game and 4.1 assists per game. That was a total of 11.4. So basically, I'm looking to grow that by about 4 to 9 points a game, or 4 to 9 combined points and assists a game. And I don't think that's that big a leap, given the fact that last offseason, he didn't have a full offseason. Last offseason, he was planning to still be a senior in high school. Comes in, not late in the game, but didn't have a full summer. This summer, he's got a full summer. He's got a whole year of college under his belt. And we know the old maxim from Coach Smith that biggest leap is freshman to sophomore year. I expect an incremental jump, a substantial jump from Elliot Cadeau this season. And I think he can do it, going from 11.4 combined points and assists last year to somewhere from 15 to 20. And I honestly don't care which of those takes the lead. Let's say we're looking for, let's say it's 18 and Elliot averages 12 points and 6 assists a game, or 10 assists and 8 points a game, or 9 and 9, right? Like anything that adds up to that is great with me. Why? Because I'm not looking specifically for it to have to be points scored by Elliot or points scored because of Elliot through an assist, but points in totality generated by Elliot. That to me is what I'm more concerned with. And obviously you would like to see that on the points scored side with a higher efficiency, a higher shooting percentage. But ultimately, I would love the combination of Elliot's points per game and assists per game to be in the 15 to 20 range. And if I had my druthers, closer to 20 than 15. So can he do that? That's one of the burning questions for me ahead of this season. And when you're a point guard, when your leader, your floor general is doing that, you're in really good shape. My second burning question ahead of this season, 6 weeks out. How many minutes per game will Ian Jackson and Drake Powell play? These are Carolina's two key freshmen. There are three freshmen on this roster. James Brown is going to be a valuable piece of this team, but I don't expect him to contribute this season at the level that both Ian Jackson and Drake Powell will. That doesn't mean that James Brown never will. It just means that we don't expect him to this year. So what I'm curious to see is, what are the individual minutes per game for both Ian Jackson and Drake Powell, and what is the combined minutes per game played for these two? And I'm also interested to see how that progresses as the season comes along. Because I'm guessing that number increases from November, December, January, February into March, and hopefully April, right? If it gets to April, that means really good things are happening. But the reason you might be saying, like, Isaac, why aren't you using like production or stats or counting? Why are you using minutes per game? That's a great question. The reason I'm asking it that way is because if the production is going to be there, then the minutes are going to be there. If the minutes for both Powell and Jackson are going up, that's a direct result of their on-court play. Coach Davis is not going to give them more minutes because they're not playing well. No, he's going to take minutes away from them. So there's a direct correlation between on-court success and being on the court. And I am very curious to see what that is, again, both individually and combined for these two young men. So again, I want to hear your answer to that. What do you think the combination of Jackson and Powell's minutes per game is? Number 3 of our 6 burning questions ahead of the season. Who's going to be the rebounding leader for this team? Is it just like one guy, like Armando Bacot, clearing away the last couple of years, undoubtedly was going to be North Carolina's rebounding leader heading into the season? No question, no doubt about it. Is there going to be that guy this season? Or is it going to be like how scoring leader can change? Like, yeah, there are 3, 4, 5 different guys that could be the leading rebounder in any given game. I tell you, I was trying to think about it, and I purposely didn't go back and look statistically or at the roster to see how true this was. But I was trying to recall it, and I can't recall the last time we went into a Carolina basketball season without a firm idea about who the leading rebounder would be. And whether that's like, it's going to be Armando Bacot, or like, hey, it could be Kennedy Meeks or Isaiah Hicks, or, it could be Tyler Hansborough or Deion Thompson. When was the last time we went into a season just having no clue because it was so wide open? It could be Jalen Washington. It could be Jalen Withers. It could be Ty Claude. It could be Van Allen Lubin. I feel like any of these possibilities are on the table ahead of this season. It's just so wide open. Plus, you factor in the lack of proven, like, long experience of rebounding at a high level for multiple years at the ACC level. There just really isn't that in any sort of proven capacity. And so that is both exciting and terrifying. And I don't think we're going to know until we might get a hint of it through these 3 exhibition opportunities, but we're really not going to firmly know probably until we get further into the non-conference portion of the schedule, and Carolina's played some of these high-level games, Kansas and UCLA and others. Maui, man, that's all going to be very telling about the answer to this question. Now, that's 3 of our 6 burning questions answered. We're going to have the other 3 in just a second, but shockingly, RJ Davis has never shot 40% from 3 for an entire season in his first 4 years at Carolina, although he came literally 1 made 3 away last year. Is this the year? We'll ask that question and a couple more coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed, literally guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. As you look ahead to Saturday, unfortunately, Duke is favored by 2.5 points over the Tar Heels. And look, Carolina, while they may be 3-1 on the record books, they're 1-3 against the spread. But you know what? The Tar Heels have beaten Duke in 5 straight games. And so, maybe you want to get in on that action. And if you want to do so, go visit FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook. We're 6 weeks out from the college basketball season tipping off, and we got 6 burning questions for today. Number 4, can RJ Davis shoot 40% from 3 for the first time in his Carolina career? It really is kind of bewildering to me that RJ has never been able to accomplish this thus far. But I think you can look at the last 2 years. There are some clear and obvious reasons for it. 2 seasons ago, his true junior year, bothered with that finger injury that severely, I think, impaired his ability to shoot from 3 with the accuracy that he otherwise would have. When that finger was in good shape, dude, he was on fire 2 years ago. And then it would get hurt again, and it just wasn't the same. I think he legitimately would have hit it that year. This past year that just finished, you'll recall that RJ Davis hit a 3 in every game, except unfortunately the Alabama game to end the season. He was 0 of 9 from deep in that game. Here's how the math is so crazy. Had he literally made one of those threes, not only would Carolina probably have won the basketball game, but also you give him one more made 3 last year and he was just over 40%. So literally just right there on the threshold of it last year. I'm not worried about the volume with RJ Davis. The volume is going to be there. He's going to continue to make a lot. His single season three-pointers made record is under assault again this year. It's going, I wouldn't be surprised to see him set another record. But the question is, what I'm looking for is the efficiency. The volume is going to take care of itself in the flow of the game. Can RJ Davis, in what is undoubtedly, because of eligibility, his final college season, can he shoot 40% from 3 for the first time ever? If so, Carolina will be in great shape. Even if he's slightly below that, they will be. But man, I'd love to see him be able to go out on that blaze of glory. Question number 5. We already asked the question, who's going to be Carolina's leading rebounder? This one's similar but different. How will the coaching staff allocate the front court minutes? This to me just feel if leading rebounders wide open, this is maybe even more so because not only are these minutes available to guys like Jalen Washington, Jalen Withers, Van Allen Lubin, Ty Clark, James Brown, who would have been Zayden High as well. There is the mix of similar to what happened last year with having Harrison Ingram play the 4 all season long, where you could see a 3 come up and play a bunch of front court minutes at the 4 as well in the form of a Cade Tyson or a Drake Powell. That's a very real thing. So, we could very well see front court minutes allocated like Jalen Washington playing 25 to 30 a game at the 5, and then like some combination of Cade Tyson and or Drake Powell taking most of the minutes at the 4. It could be a more kind of traditional type thing where maybe you get the Jaelens at the 4 and 5 together with Jay Witt at the 4 and Jay Wash at the 5. Where will Van Allen Lubin more play his minutes, and who will he be paired with in the front court? How much will Ty Claude be a factor? How much, if at all, will James Brown be a factor? Again, we don't expect much, but these are the kind of questions that are rolling around. Will a more traditional front court player get the bulk of the minutes at the 4, or will it be more Tyson or Powell? There's just so many possibilities with this team. And given the fact that, yet again, as we've talked about a lot this offseason, your backcourt is where your strength lies. If I'm this coaching staff, I'm doing everything in my power, everything I can to find as many minutes at as many places for the Tar Heels as long as we're being competitive. And if that means fewer minutes for the other traditional front court players, so be it, right? And you don't want to forget them. They're a vital part of this team that brings strengths to this team and helps them win. But you got to know where your butter's made, or where your bread is buttered. I know how that phrase works. You got to know where your bread is buttered. And with this year's team, that's with the backcourt. So I am very curious to see how that front court minutes will be allocated. Question number 6, the last one we're going to ask today. How will Cade Tyson's shot distribution, or what will Cade Tyson's shot distribution look like? That's how I meant to ask that. Similar to what I said about RJ Davis, I'm not concerned, similar but different to RJ. I'm not concerned about Cade Tyson's three-point percentage. Why? Because opposite of RJ, Cade Tyson has never not shot 40% or better. This is his junior year of college, and in his first 2 years, he's literally never been below 40%. It was like 41.7 his freshman year at Belmont, and it was, let me get it pulled back up, forgive me here, 40, where is it? 3-point shoot, 46.5% last year on even more attempts. It's insane what Cade Tyson has done from three. So again, I'm not worried at all about his percentage. And he's done that, by the way, on a high volume of 3-point attempts. So that's incredible to think about. And even, frankly, Cade Tyson, a career 44.6% 3-point shooter, if he drops 5 percentage points, literally, that's a big chunk going down 5%. Guess what? That's still 39.6% from three. So not worried. But what I am watching for is Cade Tyson to continue as he did at Belmont. This is not something new. That's what's encouraging about it. But again, I want to see what it looks like at the Carolina at the ACC level. Will he continue to be a player who doesn't just hunt his shot from outside? Here's what I mean. In both years at Belmont, Cade Tyson had more 2-point attempts than 3-point attempts. And when he comes in, what is his reputation? Sharpshooter. He's the guy you want shooting from outside. He and RJ Davis are going to light it up, and that's the plan. That's the play. Other guys can drive and do all of that. This is a guy that was like second in the nation in 3-point percentage last year. His freshman year had 179 2-point attempts, 115 3-point attempps. Last year, 185 3-point attempts, 172 2-point or 3-point attempts. Excuse me. I might have said that backwards. The higher number in both instances was 2-point attempts. The lower number was 3-point attempts. Now, what's interesting to me is I really prefer and like the distribution that Cade Tyson had last year, essentially balanced at, even 13 more 2-point attempts than 3-point attempts, 185 to 172. And frankly, I don't think he took enough 3-point attempts his freshman year. I would like to see that number come up. But when you think about Cade Tyson this year, yes, Carolina needs to have him hit from outside. But as we expect to have the lane opened up more, I expect Cade Tyson to continue to be someone who drives and, takes a pretty balanced approach to shooting threes and twos. And that should be a lot easier because he's not as much of a hunted man as he was at Belmont. Why? Because he's got RJ Davis around him drawing attention. He's got Elliot Cadeau distributing to him. All of that meaning he should get better looks and he should be more open for driving lanes because you don't have Armando Bacot clogging it up, which is no disrespect to Armando. It's just the makeup of the team. And so given all those factors, I want to see what the shot distribution between twos and threes will be from Cade Tyson. I would love it to continue to be exactly what it was at Belmont last year, essentially balanced between twos and threes and shooting it high volume, high percentage, and that could spell great things for Carolina. And so that's why I ask all 6 of these questions, because if we get the answers we're hoping for, Carolina is going to be in very good shape this season. If we don't get the answers we're looking for, things aren't going to be as good, and somewhere in the middle, obviously, would be somewhere in the middle. But I think these each, in their own way, are X factors contributing to the success of this season. So be watching out for those and those answers. Again, I'd love to hear your thoughts and observations on them, and I'd love to hear your burning questions ahead of the season. Coming up, Carolina football has something major to prove now. Plus, we got to get to my shady stat of the game and our weekend whip around where Carolina, outside of the football team, was highly successful. All that coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about Game Time, Going to live events, it really is just the absolute best, whether it's music or theater or comedy. And look, college football is back, baby. It's great. Carolina heading now into ACC play. Let's turn a page and go. And I'm looking forward to making all new memories this season in both Carolina football and basketball, man. That is coming so close, as we said, just 6 weeks away. Well, great news. When you're getting tickets for this year, Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste your time wading through all the fluff. So whether it's Game Time ticket coverage, the lowest price guarantee, or the panoramic views from seats in your app, Game Time has got you covered. How about Carolina at Duke coming up this Saturday, 3 p.m. at Wallace Wade Stadium? The best deal I found, I think this is a great deal, $85 a ticket, just behind Carolina's bench on row 3, just right around the 35-yard line. I mean, I think that's a great deal for this rivalry matchup. And if you want to spend a little less, the cheapest ticket I could find was $64 to get you in the stadium. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Terms apply. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? It's game time. Saturday happened. It was 70-50. It was embarrassing. It was frustrating. It was just like, what on earth? Did not see this coming. But now, North Carolina has something even more to prove. I think there was already a lot to prove for this team because of Drake May being gone, because of, hey, you've won some games, but it's time to be sustained in that success. And as has happened in the past several years, Carolina was not able to handle success. When it kept time to continue it, it just didn't happen. But here's the thing. Call me naive, call me short-sighted, call me glass half full. That's fine, because that's who I am and I lean into it. But I do believe this football team has some great opportunities ahead of it to this season not be wasted. Yes, losing to James Madison, and in the fashion they lost to James Madison, is a stain on this season. It is. There's no way around that, and nothing will change that. Even winning every game the rest of the season, there's always like, what was that? Right? But I definitely believe that Carolina can do this on Saturday at Duke to kick off ACC play. Again, the Tar Heels are at 0-0 in ACC play. But do not think that they can just come out and do it. There is much work to be done between now and then. And let's be honest, there's no better team to rebound against than the Dukies. Heels have beaten them 5 straight. Oh, by the way, all of that is aligned with Mac Brown 2.0. Carolina had lost, I think it was 2, maybe 3 straight in the series. Coach Brown came back 2019, and the Tar Heels have won 5 straight since then. The 3 Sam Howell years and the 2 Drake May years. Mac personally has beaten Duke 13 straight seasons. And look, of the 5 that have happened recently, there were 2 blowouts, 2020 and 2021, but the other 3 were 3 points or less spread, including last year's 2 overtime victories. So do not come in thinking like, oh man, this is going to be cake. We're on a roll against Duke. No. Plus, the Blue Devils come in 4-0, looking to hold serve at home, licking their chops a little bit because they saw what just happened to the Tar Heels and like, hey, we can go get these guys. We got our own athletic quarterback. Let's make it happen. And, they would absolutely love to hand back-to-back losses to the Tar Heels and get their first win in the series since 2018. So, really interesting storylines with all that. Now, as you look at Carolina a little bit more, the offense certainly was not perfect on Saturday by no means. But on most days, you would be thrilled and find yourselves in the winners column with 50 points scored. The problem is when the defense is out allowing 70. So yes, the offense has a lot to look at, a lot to figure out. Hey, all right, it's going to be Jacoby's second start. What do we need to do? What do we need to change? You might have seen, I didn't talk about this in the show, but the offense came out in a 2 tight end set with just 2 receivers. Will we see more of that? Is that more conducive to Jacoby's game? things of that nature. But it's the defense that really has a multitude of things to figure out. Having started the season quite well, thank you very much, before just getting scorched on Saturday with James Madison's week off and their ability to get some things figured out, some chinks in the armor. Can Carolina cover those weaknesses? I think there is great possibility with Jeff Collins. I'm in. I believe it. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. But, man, that simply just cannot happen again. This unit has to get it figured out. To that point, let's move now to our shady stat of the game. You know why? A lot of times we're doing our shady stat of the game just because we're happy and we want to celebrate and look a little Hollywood and just lean into my last name. Today we're doing it to kind of hide our shame at what happened, because after a blowout like this, the shady stat of the game obviously has to be negative. How about this? North Carolina took a 14-11 lead with 4 minutes and 8 seconds left in the first quarter of Saturday's game. From there were 19 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in the first half. James Madison outscored the Tar Heels 42-7 in those final 19 minutes and change. If you were to look up the definition of wheels falling off in the Encyclopedia Britannica, you would see a picture of that 19 plus minutes. That was just straight up appalling. I was shell shocked. I didn't know what happened, because every time you turned around, it was just like, oh no. Yeah, just over and over and over again. You just kept thinking, can't get worse. Oh, that's worse. Oh, that's even worse. And that's worse. It just kept going. And big picture level, this is kind of shady stat of the game part 2. In Mac Brown 2.0, this is now the 8th time that the Tar Heels have lost as double-digit favorites. And as a reminder, that's just in 5 years plus the 4 games of this year. 8 times as double-digit favorites the Tar Heels have lost. That's not good. Shady stat of the game. There you go from the James Madison game. Hopefully we'll have a happier one and some happier shades. And I mean that literally as my sunglasses and me, Isaac, a happier shade next Saturday. All right, weekend whip around. Here we go. Men's soccer blanks number 18 NC State at Dorrance Field on Friday night, 2-0. The men are now 5-0-2, 2-0 in the ACC play. And oh, by the way, that was NC State's first loss of the season. The guys are 6th nationally ahead of the new rankings coming out, so I look for them to move up. This was their 4th shutout of the season. But hold your horses. There's 2 women's teams waiting to go next, and they say, men's soccer, 4th shutout of the season. We've both recorded 4 straight shutouts. Yeah, that's right. Women's soccer, Thursday beat Pitt 1-0. Sunday beat Syracuse 1-0. Both of those matches on the road. Bella Summer had a second half penalty kick that gave Carolina their lone goal on Sunday in the Syracuse battle. So as I just referenced, that is now the 4th straight shutout for the women's soccer team. And they've just allowed only 1 goal in their last 8 games. The women are 10-1 on the season, 3-0 in ACC play, and ranked 8th right now. Again, waiting on the new poll to come out. And field hockey says, oh yeah, whatever you can do, we can do too. On Friday, the women won 5-0, hosting Syracuse in their home opener and their ACC opener. Then on Sunday, they traveled to Liberty, where they won by a scorching score of 7-0. Riley Heck had a hat trick and 2 assists. Ridiculous. She was responsible in some way for 5 of those 7 goals. The ladies now have 4 straight shutouts. They've allowed just 2 goals all season long, and never more than 1 in a single game. So all told, they have outscored their opponents 25-2. The women continue to be second in the nation behind Northwestern. They're 6-0 overall and 1-0 in ACC play. Volleyball, they're on a 4-game winning streak. ACC Big Ten Challenge this weekend welcomed both Michigan schools in. Friday beat Michigan 3-2. First loss of the season for the Wolverines. You love to see it all the time. And Sunday beat Michigan State 3-1. The team split the first 2, and then Carolina rattled off sets 3 and 4. So the ladies are 8-1 to finish off non-con play and next move into their own ACC play. So you see, outside of football, it was a great weekend to be a Tar Heel in terms of winning and winning convincingly. So Great Monday to kick off the week. We'll be back with you again tomorrow. If you haven't subscribed to the show already, make sure to do so on video and audio. If you're not part of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, man, you are missing out because there's great chatter happening in there every single day. The link's in the show notes, and it's absolutely free to join. If you'd like to go a little even deeper, you can join the Locked On Tar Heels Insider Program, which allows you to text one-on-one directly with me. Have free access to all of my stats and charts and data that I keep and only share with this group. Free 2-week trial, and then it's just $5 a month to join after that. A great way to help support our show. All right, gang, it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. Be back with you tomorrow, but until then, peace.